Hi, I'm Jules Mitchell. Today's teaching tip is for Malasana, or squat pose. I've got 3 students here. I'm going to have them do the pose for you. Then we're going to take a look at each of them individually and see how we can use a prop or how we can give them a cue to help them find the pose a little bit better. So I'm going to get out of the way. Go ahead and take a spot on the mat, you guys, and just come down into Malasana, squat pose. I don't know if you heard that, but there's a lot of cracking joints right there. That was pretty funny. Can you now also stand up and then turn to the side and do it again? So just kind of take a look at and observe and see if there's something that you notice about any of these poses that maybe looks like you. Chelsea's heels aren't on the ground, Marla's got a rounded back, and Melissa has a tendency to sort of sway to one side, like one hip agrees with this pose a little bit more than the other. So we're going to try and give them some variations just to give them something different in the pose. So go ahead and come on up. Let's start with Chelsea because it's a very common situation when people can't get their heels to the floor. And part of it is because there's not a lot of dorsiflexion in the ankle. So in order to get Chelsea down in Malasana so that she can work the dorsiflexion in the ankle, we're going to give her a prop, a rolled up blanket that she can put her heels on. So come on over. Nice. How does that feel? It feels good? So now she's not just balancing in space, hovering, but she can actually sit into her dorsiflexion and she can be here for a little while. She can do some isometric work with the ankle if she'd like. But otherwise, normally what you hear in classes is just to turn your feet out when people can't go into this kind of dorsiflexion in the pose. And it's a really, really great sort of modification or workaround, but it's not necessarily going to improve the pose over the long term. If the rolled up blanket is too low for you at home, you're welcome to use a bolster, something a little bit higher. I don't really recommend a block. It's not really as cushiony and doesn't really work as well. It's not very stable. Okay, come on up. Let's look at Marla. Move this out of the way. So again, will you turn to the side and show everyone again? So Marla's going to do Malasana. And she just gets this really, really rounded back. She's actually flexible enough to do the pose, but she just kind of sits in this spinal flexion. So we're going to give her the wall so that she can start to get a little bit more lift out of the lumbar. So come on up, Marla. Turn around and face the wall. You're probably going to want to get a little closer. Yep, good. Okay, and now she's going to put her fingertips on the wall, a little lower, even lower if you can. And now she's going to sort of use the wall to drag her chest up. Nice. So I don't know if you got to see that, but let's try it again. Just relax into the pose. Put your hands on the wall. And then try to drag the wall down. Use some leverage here to get your chest to lift even more. And then I'm going to give you one more thing because she's struggling. She's falling back. I'm going to give her one more thing, and that is to actually lift up an inch. Yes, now do the work. Keep going. So she was just kind of sinking into her flexibility and she didn't have a lot of control there, which is why she fell back. So I'm forcing her now to work and use the muscles. Are your legs burning? Yes, she says. Great, and come on up. If I had a ballet bar, I would actually give her that. It'd be better leverage, but we don't have one here. So, Melissa, you're next. So just come to the side, and again, just to save time, we talked about she balances over to one side a little bit. And so to take that equation out of the hip joint, I'm going to bring her legs together, which is actually a really common way to do Malasana, which is with the legs together. And so it's a whole different pose for her that way, but I think it's going to be really effective. So just come forward from the wall just maybe a little. Let's see. And go ahead and come down into the pose. Because I'm going to have her get her sacrum on the wall. Nope, she had to back up. Yep. So she's got her sacrum on the wall here, and so she's actually going to try and like lift up out of the hip joint by trying to drag the sacrum up just a little bit nice. And then I'm going to give her a really hard challenge by giving her a block that she's going to take straight up overhead. This looks amazing. How does it feel? It's torture. It's really, really difficult. Good. Just a couple more breaths. I don't know if you can catch it, but she's trembling quite a bit. Good. I'll take the block and come on up. So those are 3 variations of Malasana. There's tons more. None of them are right. None of them are wrong. It's just, these are different variations. I'm trying to get you to get into the pose so you can be comfortable. And so you can actually make improvements and change instead of just using props as kind of a workaround. I hope this works for you. If you have any other questions, just comment below and I'd be happy to answer. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks, guys.